What's up, America? It's Dave Sheridan, aka Doofy, and you're listening to The Horror Squad. And remember, don't disturb me while I'm listening to The Horror Squad.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast, episode number 242, where tonight we are going to be discussing Glorious, the newest horror movie streaming over on Shudder. We are Toddless for now, but he is going to be joining us very shortly. But I am here with Steve. Gentlemen, I want to hear all about Fan Expo Canada. I know you went, so let's get a breakdown.
Holy fuck, man. Fan Expo Canada. So first, I'm just going to lay it out that I had a lot of fun. I got to hang out with one of my best friends. I got to hang out with Justin from a podcast I've appeared on before, the Don't Be Crazy podcast. I've been chatting with him online for like 12 years, and it was the first time I got to meet him in person, and that was really awesome. As far as the con itself, it was ridiculously fucking busy. Like, I'm talking, you cannot stretch out your arms basically anywhere in that place. They had a lot of huge guests, including, as they counted, 6 people from Stranger Things. And the Stranger Things line is like bigger than I've ever seen before. It's absolutely madness. And you horror fans will be horrified by this, but they had Robert Englund as a Stranger Things guest. And so did Sean Astin, who was actually there with the other 3 Hobbits, but they decided that him being in Stranger Things season 2 trumps being a Hobbit, so they had him in the Stranger Things section anyway. But still, great con. Personally, I got to meet Lloyd Kaufman. I'd met him before, but it was the first time I actually got to like talk to him and get his autograph and stuff like that. He's always a delight, just an absolutely amazing person. He signs for free, which is awesome. Everyone at the Trauma booth was also super cool, so huge shout out for them. And then I met 4 people from Sons of Anarchy. I'm a big fan of that show, so I had a poster going. It's actually my only non-horror poster in my basement that I have up. I'm trying to get like a kind of a cast thing going on. I already had Ron Perlman, who horror fans would know, I guess, Hellboy. I also had the guy who played Opie, Ryan Hurst, who people would know as Beta from The Walking Dead. I actually got him to sign my Walking Dead poster as well because Beta was such a big character. Then I met Theo Rossi, who played Juice in Sons of Anarchy, but is known to horror fans. He played in Army of the Dead, which he played kind of the Weasley character that he's kind of a little bitch in that movie, but really cool dude. Then I met Alvarez from Sons of Anarchy, who people would know from 3 from Hell. He had a few prints of that on his table. And finally, the one I was really psyched to meet was Charlie Hunnam. He's the main character in Sons of Anarchy. He plays Jax, and horror fans might know him from Crimson Peak. That's, I think, the only horror film he's made. All very, very cool guys. I'd actually say Charlie Hunnam is like top 5 nicest guys I've ever met at a con. Just absolutely cool. I am a little bummed though. So there was a horror booth at Fan Expo that featured a different horror film every day, and they had like a good portion of the main cast of whatever film they featured. And one of my buddies went the Friday, which I went on a Saturday, and they were featuring Vicious Fun, which I had as number 2 or 3 as my favorite film of last year. I know Todd did as well. I don't remember, Joe, if you had it on your top 10.
No, I think it was an honorable mention, maybe.
Okay. So I was really bummed that I got to miss out on those guys, but they were featuring another film that I didn't really care about. So I went by, said hello, but didn't really do anything. And the last horror thing I did was I went to visit Deadly Grounds Coffee, our sponsor, which you won't hear their ad tonight, but we very much appreciate them for, kind of supporting us and stuff like that. And I found out through talking to the owner that they're actually opening a store really close to me. So I can't wait. It's a horror themed bar, and I think it's going to be fun. So really looking forward to it. What about you? You went to, was it Silver Scream Con? Is that what it was called?
Yeah, I did. But Fan Expo, they do those like all over the country. Because Fan Expo Boston just came here recently too, and I know those cons like can just get like extremely overwhelming. But the fact that they had like all the Stranger Things people, wasn't Eddie Munson? Did you say Eddie Munson was there too?
Okay, so I got to talk about that. So Eddie was there.
Okay.
So the way it works at these cons is you had all of the guests, every single one of them, like on one wall, and they all have 2 tables. They have one table for the handler and kind of the prince, and then one table for the actual celebrity to sign at. That's every single guest. We're talking about some of the biggest guests, like Star Wars, Marvel, Lord of the Rings, Sons of Anarchy. You had Clerks, Kevin Smith and all that. You had like a bunch of people, William Shatner, just a bunch of huge names. And then there's one table on the left who, no joke, has probably 10 tables wide because of how long that line was. And that was fucking Joseph Quinn, who played Eddie in Stranger Things. So a guy who played, like 4 episodes, maybe 5 at the most, of the last Stranger Things seasons, who doesn't appear all that much, had a bigger line and a bigger presence than all these like legit legends of the geek world. It was impressive, and I'm sure this will probably die down in time, but he is the hot thing right now, and it was really crazy. Like his line was just on a whole other level. I've never seen anything like it. So good for him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the hot thing on the streets right now, obviously. So it's gonna be Stranger Things is gonna be the hot ticket for years to come. I'm interested to see like in like 10 years when these people do cons, like how if those lines are gonna sustain or not, or if the the fandom is gonna die down on it. So we'll see. Maybe it depends how it ends. Who knows?
Yeah, what I'm afraid of is, so I think back of cons I went to 10 years ago when I used to think $50 was like kind of a ridiculous price to pay for someone. Whereas at Fan Expo, it was like almost 100 minimum, unless you were someone kind of relatively small, like Alvarez from Sons of Anarchy. $100 per person, someone up to 160. So Jesus, like it's a lot of fucking money. Crazy.
Yeah, very crazy. Yeah, so I attended a con this weekend too, Silver Scream Con, which was a very first time horror convention took place in Danvers, Massachusetts. It was run by the band Ice Nine Kills, who a lot of you horror fans might know. They're sort of like I don't even know what you would call them. I mean, they're like like a metal like band. I mean, someone's gonna like kill me for probably calling them metal, but they're like hard rock, I guess you could say, like screamo rock, I guess is the best thing. But they're a horror themed band. Like all of their songs are about horror music and stuff like that. So they decided to start their own convention, and I was like very intrigued to see how it was going to go. For first time cons are always so unpredictable. I will say though, it was run extremely well. A really solid guest list for a first time con. It was small, definitely on the smaller side. There was only like one big room and maybe only about 30 vendors in that room, and then the rest was all celebrities. So I mean, definitely on the smaller side, but I think they definitely will have a lot of potential to grow in time. It definitely fills the big void that Rock and Shock left, which was the big horror convention in Massachusetts that dissolved 2 years ago, and we haven't had anything since. So it was exciting to finally have something in my backyard. And yeah, I had a blast. It was a lot of fun. Solid guest list. So I'm starting a new horror piece. So everyone I met was all repeats guests to get this new poster signed. I got like this, like, yeah, everyone has like probably seen this image. It's basically just like all of the horror icons on like one big poster. So I got Kane Hodder to sign it, Doug Bradley, Bill Moseley, whatever, Jamie Kennedy. Actually, I had him to sign it too. And there was like one other horror icon, but I was gonna get Andrew Bernarski to sign it, who played the new remake Leatherface. He was listed as 40 on the website, and I got to his table with the poster, and I looked down, and he was charging $75. I mean, this is more than Kane Hodder was charging, more than Doug Bradley was charging, more than Oh, that's right. I make Nick Castle and James G. Courtney too, who are the two, Nick Castle, the original Shape. He was charging more than the original Michael Myers. I mean, I think he was actually the most expensive autograph there, which just like fucking blew my mind. So I turned around and I was like, fuck that, man. Like, you're just taking advantage of the fandom right now. I turned around. I didn't end up splitting a photo up with my buddy with him, so I did spend $30 to get a photo op. He did a Leatherface in costume photo op, so me and my buddy got that done. So that was cool. But yeah, I mean, I skipped him on the autographs. But man, I will say so this con was run by the band Ice Nine Kills. It was like 100% Ice Nine Kills fans. It was wild. So the band was signing, and their line was like a Robert Englund size line. It was like a 2 to 3 hour wait to meet the band. Everyone else, I mean, no lines. Like I walked up to pretty much the longest I waited was for Kane Hodder, which was about a 30-minute wait, say, but everyone else I walked right up to their table. So it was nice. Yeah, but I had a blast. Couple things that came out of the con. Halloween news, something I did not know for Halloween Ends. I guess this is like mild spoiler, but not anything like too major, but maybe skip ahead 30 seconds if you don't want to know this. But I went to the Q&A with Nick Castle and James Jude Courtney, and Nick Castle revealed his part in this movie actually is going to be himself. Like, well, he's gonna like be himself in the movie. Well, not Nick Castle, obviously, but he is going to be, without the mask on. So that's pretty cool, I thought. So we will get a Nick Castle cameo in the new Halloween Ends. So I thought that was a cool little tidbit. Other than that, yeah, we walked by Kane Hodder and my buddy threw out, oh man, like Friday the 13th Part 6, easily the best Friday the 13th. And Kane looked over at me and he literally pushed me about halfway across the room. And he said, fuck you guys. And he just kept walking. So that was a fun memory, definitely, from the con. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this con grows. And we'll see. I'll definitely be back next year as long as they keep doing it.
That's awesome. And speaking of celebrity guests, might as well talk about it now as a good time as any. We are hosting a nice little celebrity guest in October. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we are. We are going to be hosting, of course, Omri Katz, of course, from Hocus Pocus. Update on that. We did announce tickets did go on sale. We are now more than halfway sold out for the screening over at Cinema Salem. That's going to be taking place at 7:00 in the evening. So don't wait. Like, we are absolutely going to sell out. We're not even into September yet, or maybe September when this episode drops. But yeah, we're just in the beginning of September now, and we are already more than halfway sold out. We still have another month and a half before the event, and I haven't even started hanging flyers downtown. Once the locals and other tourists get word of this, I think it is absolutely going to sell out very soon. Also, the Crypt has released their menu for pre-order, so you can go follow the Crypt over on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. And so I'll read their menu off real quick here. So these are going to be available right before the movie screening. So you will be able to bring the food into the movie theater if you would like and eat food there or eat before you go. But pre-orders will start being picked up around 6:00 in the evening, right before the screening. So they're doing the Winifred Sanderson, which is an oven roasted turkey breast with stuffing, house-made cranberry sauce, fried Granny Smith apples, and gravy dipping. So a Thanksgiving style sandwich on there. The Mary Sanderson, which I think is the most intriguing one, which is Cheeto dusted chicken wings. And then you have the Sarah Sanderson, which is mixed greens with roasted pumpkin, pickled watermelon or pickled watermelon radish, and toasted hazelnuts with cranberry vinaigrette. So a salad there. And then they are doing the Dead Man's Toes, which is a tater tots gnocchi hybrid fried to a crispy golden brown, served with honey garlic aioli and sriracha ketchup dipping sauces. And finally, for dessert, the chocolate covered finger of a man named Clark, which is chocolate dipped crullers filled with peanut butter buttercream. So very delicious. If you are coming to the event, definitely order something from the Crypt.
You're having the Mary Sanderson?
Yeah, definitely. I gotta try those.
Me too. That was my wife wants the Dead Man's Toes, so that's what she's gonna have. But I'm definitely gonna have the Mary Sanderson. I'm intrigued. I want to know what it tastes like. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. No, was there anything else?
I don't believe so. All
right. Well, before we move into news, though, let's hear from Omri himself, and just for the final details there on that event. So Omri, take it away.
It's me, Omri Katz, aka Max from Hocus Pocus. Just here to let you know I'm going to be in Salem, Massachusetts on October 22nd at the Silver Moon Comic Store starting at 1 p.m. I'm going to be signing some autographs and meeting fans and whatnot. And then after that, there's going to be a special screening and a Q&A hosted by the Horror Squad podcast at Cinema Salem. So I really look forward to seeing you guys there, and don't miss it.
All right, folks, so let's get into some horror news now. It has been a while. It's been, I think, like over a month since we've done horror news, and a lot has happened in that month. So let's just get started here. The first thing I wanted to touch on was a couple of trailers that have dropped within the last month. So Steve, I want to know your thoughts on the new Wednesday Addams trailer that dropped, the new Netflix television series with our girl Jenna Ortega.
Fucking Jenna Ortega, easily becoming one of my favorite actresses out there. Absolutely incredible in everything she's in, and this looks no different. I think it looks awesome. The cast of that they chose for the Addams Family looks a lot like the original cartoon. If anyone has seen that, I know people had a kind of like people were a little like, oh my god, Gomez doesn't really look like Gomez. Well, he looks exactly like Gomez from the cartoon. I think it's an inspired choice, but Jenna Ortega looks like she's going to steal the show here. And I saw like a behind the scenes thing about how much she prepared for this role, and it seems she's taking this extremely seriously. And yeah, I'm super looking forward to it. I think it looks amazing. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything you said. I think it looks great. I think it looks like a ton of fun. Jenna Ortega looks like she was cast perfectly as Wednesday. I got no problems with Louis Guzman as Gomez. I mean, I don't know what the whole backlash about that was. Like, I mean, he looks fine. Like, I agree, and he's not, of course, like Raul Julia. Like, he's not like the Casanova type that I guess people were used to on that. But I mean, if you do look at the original source material, he seems perfect for it. So, yeah, I'm really excited for it. The other trailer I wanted to jump on, of course, is the hotly anticipated, 3 or 4 years in the making now, Terrifier 2 trailer that finally dropped. So, Steve, what'd you think of it?
I think it looks great. It looks to be really bloody. It looks to be a lot of the same. So that's could be a good thing. Actually, the day that we're recording, they just screened it for the first time. And it seems pretty positive on all fronts, saying that it's extremely bloody and extremely gory and has the same kind of charm as the first one did. My only apprehension with this movie is that it's 2.5 hours long. And that's a long time for a character that doesn't even speak. So I'm curious to see how they pull that off. But other than that, it's pointing like it's looking to be pretty good.
Yeah, once again, totally agree with you. I think it looked super fun. Like it definitely elevated my expectations. It looks like it definitely could be an improvement over the original. Looked super gory, looked super bloody, and it just looked like just a really, really fun time. So I'm really excited for it, and we're gonna find out this October. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen, Todd has entered the chat.
Oh,
Todd, we
hi.
were just discussing. Hey, what's up, buddy? We were just discussing the Terrifier 2 trailer. Did you watch it yet? Any thoughts on it?
I have not, but I'm honestly pumped for the movie because, I know he gets a lot of shit, especially from us, of doing cons and charging $50 a pop and all that stuff. But I still like the character. I like the director, actor, all that. So I'm pumped.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna find out in October, and I'm sure we'll definitely be covering it. So we'll find out. File this under Steve Boner alert news, ladies and gentlemen, as The Nun 2 has officially been announced, and it is going to be set to release in theaters next Halloween season. So, Steve, let's hear it.
I love the Nun character. Like, that's for sure. From her appearance, mostly in Conjuring 2. I didn't love the Nun movie. I thought it had some great elements, but it also had some elements I thought were stupid. So I'm hoping that they kind of learn from what they did the first time and make something really good. So I'm looking forward to it for sure. I love the Conjuring universe, even though, there's hit and misses. I mean, The Nun being one of them, Conjuring 3 definitely being a miss there, but a lot of them are great. And yeah, I'm psyched. I'm psyched to see what happens next.
Yeah, we did get a little bit of a plot synopsis here for The Nun 2. 1956 France, a priest is murdered and evil is spreading. The sequel to the worldwide smash hit The Nun follows Sister Irene as she once again comes face to face with the demonic force Valak, the demon nun, and we will be seeing that in theaters September 8th, 2023. So just about exactly a year away. All right. I gave the Steve Boner news. Now it's time for the Todd Boner news, ladies and gentlemen.
Oof.
As Sean Cunningham has officially teased a potential return of the Friday the 13th franchise for next year.
Praise the horror gods, finally.
Yes. So, this spread like wildfire as Sean Cunningham officially joined Cameo the other day, and in his description, he put that a 13th schedule movie is slated for next year in his description. So I don't think you would put that unless there's definitely some talk going on, and it seems like the lawsuit stuff is finally all cleared up. So a return to form, possibly. What do you think? What do you, Todd? You being probably the biggest Friday the 13th fan of all of us, like, what do you want to see out of the 13th installment?
First off, what is Cameo? Is that a TikTok kind of
That
thing?
is, it's sort of not really a TikTok. It's sort of think of like a at-home convention where people pay money for the people to send them videos,
Oh,
like customized videos.
got it. Okay. What do I want? I really like these fan films by Vincent. Last name escapes me, but
The Never Hike Alone ones.
yeah, Never Hike in the Snow, Never Hike Alone. Part 3's coming out. I mean, they're simple. Like, they're really simple. There's no like gimmicks. There's no like let's revamp Jason. It's just literally Jason in the woods killing people. And I don't think you need to like complicate the plot. You just have, whether it's a summer camp, you can even rehash soft reboot, whatever you need to do, but have Jason already established. We don't need to have his backstory. We know who he is, and have him just take out camp counselors and just leave it at that. That's what I'd love to see. In the snow. Let's get Jason back in the snow too.
I would love to see the script they had years ago of a found footage style Friday the 13th movie. I think that would be like so fun.
I
mean,
read
would
like
the fans-
not a read, or I listened to some, I don't know, but someone had the script and it was really good.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
He
think
was
it'd be
like,
awesome.
he was like supernatural, like he was the lake, but it wasn't as silly as that sounds. It was like really cool.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Well, obviously, we'll keep you guys updated in the news. Next bit of news here is the news that Evil Dead Rise is actually, they're scrapping it for home video release because they are going to be sending it to theaters instead. And it looks like it's going to be coming out in April of 2023. To me, I think this is fantastic news. I think the studio must have watched it and said, damn, this movie is actually really good, better than we expected, and we think it will do well in theaters. So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, which is actually funny because if you think that, right, which I think is also a good sign, how do
Yeah.
you feel? I don't know if I'm stealing one of your news items away, but how do you feel that they're bringing Halloween back onto VOD the same day as theater
Right.
release? Does that mean the opposite, where they're like, maybe this won't do as well as we'd hoped? So I don't know, but I think for Evil Dead on itself, it does look good. That's usually a sign that the theaters think, okay, we can make money off this. So awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, especially since it's not a Halloween brand, Yeah, I was actually shocked that I'm happy that Halloween Ends is on VOD because I didn't want to see it in the theater. But I'm shocked that it is because, COVID restrictions were mostly gone, and Halloween's got that name brand, and you would think they would keep it to make that extra $20 on or no, sorry, not home, theater sales. But I mean, it must have worked last year, right? Or 2 years ago. I watched it that way at home.
Yeah, that was another piece of news, so we can get into it. Yeah, I think, it's risky for sure. I think Peacock probably paid them a lot of money, or the studios like wanted, maybe Peacock is attached somehow, some way to some sort of deal they made. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a mistake. I think personally, money wise, financially, it's probably a mistake because this is the last movie in the franchise, so everyone's gonna go see it. They want to see how it's gonna end. This is the one. If you're gonna put it into theaters, this is the one you're gonna put into theaters. So it was a bit shocking, but I mean, they know more than us, I suppose. They know what they're doing, so we'll see. I mean, it will definitely get that buzz out there, right? Like, and
Yeah.
more people maybe will subscribe to Peacock and whatnot. But honestly, to me, it just brings out the pirating. Like, that movie you'll be able to watch it for free the same day it's released because someone's just gonna pirate it right to. So I mean, I think they're gonna lose money, but we'll see. But anyway, Evil Dead Rise will be hitting.
Is that a theater though
theaters.
for you, Joe? Is that a theater? I know Steve's
Yeah,
probably
that'll
at
be
home with me.
I don't have a choice. We don't have
Definitely a theater
Peacock.
watch.
Oh, you're at theater, Steve. Oh,
I have to. We don't have Peacock in Canada, so
that sucks.
yeah.
Yeah, I got to see this on the big screen. Like, it's Michael's, well, maybe not Michael's swan song, but Jamie Lee Curtis's swan song, probably. I mean, she claims this is her last one, and I kind of believe it this time because, she's not a spring chicken anymore, and I feel like she is finally done with this franchise after this movie.
She's a hypocrite though, man. Like, I know she's like the darling of the horror community, but she used to hate horror, and now she's like crying on camera about horror. I'm like, which is it? Which it makes you money now. Like, now you're loving it. It's silly.
I think I actually think she's genuine. I think she's come full circle, and I think she's kind of, for a while there she was hated being typecast. I think, when you're a young actress, I think you want to try to branch out and do other stuff. And
I relate to
now
that.
she's,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
Young actress. Nah, but
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the home video release of that because I had a lot of fun watching kills in the privacy of my home, pausing it, laughing. It was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. All right. So, Steve, you're going to have to explain this one to me, you being the Walking Dead aficionado you are. So, we have a Daryl Dixon spin-off series where he's going to be going to France, of all places, to fight zombies. And now we have the Walking Dead Dead City, which is a Negan and Maggie spin-off series that is coming out as well. What can you tell us about this one?
Yeah, so basically what they're doing post The Walking Dead. So Walking Dead's about to end its mainline series in like a couple months. I think it starts in October. And what they're going to do now is they're going to do limited series events. So instead of doing new seasons of stuff, they're just going to do like a 6-episode contained story focusing on different characters. And they could be post Walking Dead or they could be pre-Walking Dead. They could be at the same time as The Walking Dead. They're just basically doing these little stories. So those are 2 of them. So we're going to see a story with Daryl. I don't know how the fuck he's getting to France. That's a whole other thing, but
Curious about his motorcycle.
Right. What I'm really intrigued about, though, is
jump the water.
Right, that's right. Is this whole Negan and Maggie thing in New York City, which is the Dead City. I think it could be really intriguing. New York City must be a fucking just insane place to be during zombie apocalypse. These characters have a great like backstory to each other. I don't know, for those who still follow the show, Negan of course killed Maggie's husband and the father of her baby, Glenn, very infamously with a baseball bat. And just last season there was a very powerful scene where he actually explained himself. Like he said, your people killed an entire facility of my people, and my people were looking up to me like, why the fuck didn't you do anything about it? So I had to do something. And when I found your group, I had to make an example of your group. And then she says, if you could do it again, would you do it differently? He says, absolutely, I would have killed every single one of you if I had the chance. And it was just such a powerful scene of them being kind of honest with each other. So Negan's actually surprisingly probably my favorite character on The Walking Dead right now. His like character arc has been the best. So I'm psyched. I'm really psyched about that series. I think it's going to be awesome.
What's up with Rick's movies? What's the plan on those?
I think they dropped the movies and are going to do the same thing. They're going to do like a limited series thing with Rick instead. So I feel Rick is going to come back in the show in the last like 2 or 3 episodes of this final season, leading into his story.
Is this 10 that we're on right now?
I think it's 11.
11. Okay, because 10's on. All right, 10's on Netflix, but it started. So
right, and Rick is also going to have Michonne, which was confirmed. So it's going to be Rick and Michonne in that series.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for all that. I completely forgot to mention with my Silver Scream Con recap is that I ran into one of our loyal listeners, Missy. So shout out to Missy as well. It was great chatting with her for a little bit as well. So that was really cool. All right. So who here watched Resident Evil, the TV series on Netflix?
I watched 2 episodes and dropped out.
Watched a funny video on YouTube and decided not to watch it.
Well, I would assume that, and I didn't watch it at all, and I'm assuming that's the reason it has been canceled by Netflix after 1 season. It had an 8-episode run, and it seemed to be universally hated from everything I had read online. So, yeah, there you have it. So, if you did enjoy it, I'm sorry. If you didn't enjoy it, well, you don't have to deal with it any longer. Other quick news here. Something we haven't mentioned much on this show at all is Rob Zombie's The Munsters. Well, it is going to be hitting video on demand September 27th, so be ready. I'm sure we're going to be reviewing it probably that opening week. Really,
actually, probably not because it's the same week as Hocus Pocus. So.
Oh yeah, okay.
So we'll probably do Munsters the week after.
Yeah. All right, very good. All right. In other news here, I know this is I'm tapping into Stephen Todd's other show here, of course, Let's XP Geek and Gaming with this one, but I have to talk about it on this show as well. as Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the video game, is happening. This news really came out of nowhere. I did not hear any. I mean, you guys are obviously the bigger gaming nuts than I am, but was there any hints to this like whatsoever before this announcement?
Not even a slightest sliver of hint, which is so I think this is both the coolest thing ever, and it's actually pissing me off greatly. And I'll tell you why. I love the Killer Clowns, and I think it's a great idea that they're making a game of them. But I am so tired that every time they take these big horror franchises, Friday the 13th, Evil Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, they're making all these franchises into games, and they're all the exact same fucking type of game. And it's all these multiplayer, like 3 versus 4 games or 3 versus 7 games. And I hate that type of game. So can we not just take one of these franchises and make a normal fucking single player game or co-op game or something like that? Like, come on, guys. I'm tired of this type of game. So is this going to diminish all the other ones like Texas Chainsaw, and stuff like that are also coming out? Like, come on. I want a single player of these games. Fucking Blair Witch was amazing.
Yeah.
Give us one of those.
I hate those style twos mostly because if you don't play with friends, it's ruined by people just being a prick. Jason, you can find an exploit and just ruin the game for everybody. So that sucks. But hey, Texas Chainsaw's coming to Game Pass for all the Xbox guys out there, so you can try it for free. So I'm pumped for that. But yeah, I'm on Steve's train there. I hate that game style.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that do want to play it, is going to be released on PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. So I'll definitely be checking it out. I'm excited for that one as well. I'm gonna have to get.
You need to get a freaking Xbox and shut up already about it.
I do.
Because you haven't played TCM, Blair Witch.
No.
Nothing. I'm tired of it.
I know. I'm sorry. I bring great shame to the horror gaming community. All right. Next bit of news here, and I know we're not gonna have much more here because we do have a couple more things to do tonight before we get off. Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase, ladies and gentlemen, in a movie together, in an R.L. Stine adaptation called by the title of Zombie Town. So yeah, this just got announced today, actually. So this is going to be released over on Netflix Hulu is going to be released on Hulu and is going to be in Stine's kids book. A quiet town is upended when 12-year-old Mike and his former friend Karen watch a horror movie called Zombie Town and unexpectedly see the title characters leap off the screen and chase them through the theater. So there we go. Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd. I mean, that's fucking huge. Like,
yeah, 30 years ago, maybe.
Hey, come on.
Is it geared towards kids? Because they're not gonna know who the fuck they are.
Right. That's very true. They're bringing in the adults for this one.
Yeah, Chevy Chase doesn't
know who R.L. Stine is these days?
Yeah, mine do. They watch Goosebumps and stuff, and they read them.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll keep you guys up to date on that. I'm sure that's probably one we'll be covering too. And we are running short on time, so I am going to do one more bit of news for tonight, even though we had a lot. Obviously, we hadn't done it in quite a long time. So Tusk 2, ladies and gentlemen, is it going to happen? Well, Kevin Smith reportedly is planning a sequel to the horror movie. I'm assuming he talked about the Fan Expo, Steve, this weekend. Is this
that's what I thought too, but I didn't go to his panel. But no, it's actually Justin Long that talked about it on a podcast or something. So yeah, that's where the news comes from.
All right. Well, I'm on board. I'm ready, and I hope it happens.
I'm not, man. I want to stay alone. Yeah, I think it ended perfectly. And a good thing about Kevin Smith too is he announces quite a bit, and then rarely does it come out. Moose Jaws, Clerks 3 was on, off, on, and then it got made. Obviously, Mallrats 2 was on, off, and it's off. It's like he does this a lot, so I don't know if it'll come out.
Yeah, I guess where do you even go with a sequel? Like, like does he like escape from the his little encasement there at the end? Or
he just
something?
waddles home.
But I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. All right, and that's it for horror news this week.
Cool. Well watched.
Yeah.
I have 2 very short ones. Steve mentioned it last week. Aliens Ride at the Speed of Fright, currently on YouTube. That's it's got freaking Reanimator in it, Jeffrey Combs, who plays a colonial marine. It's pretty bad. They use a lot of recycled footage from Aliens, and then it's a typical ride where you're in first person view and you're like, we're gonna crash, and then it stops right before you crashes and it backs up. It's pretty dumb, but man, I would have loved to have been on this ride. I don't remember what park it was at. It wasn't Universal or anything like that, but holy shit. It also has Tony Todd in it, right, Steve? Yeah, so Tony Todd, Jeffrey Combs in Aliens Ride at the Speed of Fright on YouTube. It's like 8 minutes long, so go check it out for some like really cheesy stuff. But holy shit, like I said, it would have been so fun to see this.
And directed by Stuart Gordon and all that.
And, yeah, yep, craziness. That's one of them I had.
All right, my first one tonight is a Screenbox exclusive. I actually signed up for Screenbox for the month just to watch this, and it's a documentary titled Pennywise: The Story of It. And this one follows completely the 1990s miniseries. We get interviews from essentially the entire cast and crew, missing just a few, but I mean, we get Tim Curry on here, Seth Green, basically the entire Losers Club, the director Tommy Lee Wallace. And basically they just go through the entire making of the miniseries, tons of behind the scenes footage, behind the scenes stories. Overall, I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really good. I feel like there was maybe like something missing a little bit, maybe just like overly long. And it just like there didn't seem to be like, I don't know, like I think I wanted more from Tim Curry. Like, and obviously I know maybe they just with him being in his condition, they just weren't able to get as much out of him, but I definitely wanted to hear more from him. You get a lot from Tommy Lee Wallace, and I think he's actually probably the highlight of this entire documentary. He's very forthcoming with the mistakes they made in the miniseries, and he definitely doesn't sugarcoat anything. I mean, the definitely the best part and the most interesting part for me was them talking about the whole spider fiasco and just like how they completely shit the bed, doing it. And that was great. So overall, if you are a fan of the miniseries or Stephen King stuff, I definitely recommend this one. And it's made by a local guy who also did a Pet Sematary documentary. That was really great. So just to support him. He's also coming out with a Jaws documentary he's in the process of making right now as well. So yeah.
Nice. Very cool. My first one this week is a 2022 film that I watched over on Shudder, and it's called Bloody Oranges. So this one follows like a couple stories kind of at the same time. You have the story of a dance competition where this elderly couple is going into the dance, and through this really kind of smart conversation between the judges, they go through this whole like scenario as to who they should pick for the finale of this dance competition, and it goes into a really deep metaphors and like why we should pick people over the other. Is it really have to be about talent, or do you pick people for like so it looks socially good and stuff like that? So they end up picking this older couple, and then you realize that they're in debt, and their entire debt relief is based on them winning this competition. So you have that story, and then you have a story of a young girl who has never had sex before, and she kind of wants to experiment it, and she sees a gynecologist, and they talk about it. And then you have like the Minister of Finance of France, it's a French film, by the way, who he's about to go through a scandal and all this stuff, and how they fix that scandal, and all these stories kind of doing their own thing. It's kind of like a dark comedy and kind of clever discussions between people. And for the first half of the film, that's kind of what they focus on. It almost looks like just a fun kind of smart comedy and stuff like that. And all of a sudden in the middle of the film, it cuts to like a title card, and everything after that just goes into a complete other fucking insane just story. Like you meet this new character that comes in, and he kind of brings all these stories together in a really fucked up way, and it gets really fucking crazy. This movie had a pretty big impact on me. Like I was really shocked at some of the stuff that they did in this movie. I thought it was clever in a lot of ways. I thought it was really risky in a lot of ways. There are conversations that they have in this movie that I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it, but they're conversations I think are important. I will give a trigger warning. There's a lot of sexual violence in this movie, like rape and stuff. So, if you have trouble with that, that's definitely something to know about this movie. But if you can stomach it, there's also a lot to love about this movie. In fact, it's actually my top 5 of the year so far. It's just a really clever movie. So it's called Bloody Oranges, and you can find it on Netflix. Shudder.
And it's directed by Jean-Christophe Maurice. That's my French.
Maurice. You're close.
Maurice.
Yeah.
All right, good enough. I watched Predator, which I'm not going to go into because it's amazing. Plus, I still stand by it being more action and sci-fi than horror. But that's an amazing movie. But I did finish Pet Sematary for book club. I think a lot of people dropped off because, problem with books, it's a huge commitment. Written by Stephen King. And boy, this book is tough. It's hard, especially being a father. It's hard with the source material. The stuff and I'm going to rewatch the original movie and then plus the remake, just to see, because it's fresh in my mind, see what the differences are, stuff like that. Remember the Pet Sematary movie, Gage wasn't the best child actor, so kind of takes a little bit away from it. But the way he handles it in the book makes more sense. And without spoiling it, if you haven't read the book, it's really good. It's very hard to read, and that's why I didn't read it. I'm having Michael C. Hall speak it to me because he's an amazing voice actor, and he does females well, Judd well, the kids well, Ellie well, Gage well, and so on. So I highly recommend the book. It is a tough read if you're a father. I think it'd be a tough read period because it's pretty rough, but great book. Joe, how far are you on it, Joe?
I'm about halfway.
Halfway
Through it. Yeah, so I'm getting there. The biggest, I'll just say one thing. It fucking blew my mind when I found out Judd had a wife. I was like, wait a minute, what? When did this happen? And it's I could see totally why they cut her out in the movie, because it's not she's a super important character. But I was like, wait a minute, when did this happen?
Yeah,
there's some. Cool. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and Michael C. Hall is a great narrator.
Oh yeah, he's perfect. Have you read that, Steve, or no? No. All right, that was my last one.
All right. My last one tonight is over on Peacock. You can check it out. Peacock exclusive currently, and it is called They/Them. This one stars Kevin Bacon, and it is a summer camp movie. This one is really interesting. It's something that hasn't been touched on much in the horror genre, but it's about campers that go to a LGBTQ plus conversion camp, and essentially while they're at this conversion camp, murders start to happen. So I thought, I was really intrigued by this because I think the premise is fantastic. Unfortunately, they just completely dropped the ball here. I was expecting a really fun Friday the 13th style slasher movie, and unfortunately, there's hardly any killing in this movie at all. And when we do get killing, it is almost entirely off screen. I do think there's great bits in here, especially the drama. I do think there's really good drama parts, about people coming to terms with their sexuality and stuff like that, which I found all really good and interesting. However, it just did not work as a horror movie, unfortunately. So I would definitely not watch this one again. I would say skip it. And yeah. But I will say, my brother loved it. So, I think this could be in the gay community, this could be a really popular movie or something like that. But I just wasn't a fan.
Right. My last one this week is a movie from 2020 that I watched over on Shudder, and it's called 12-Hour Shift. So this movie follows a nurse who's doing a 12-hour shift overnight at a hospital. She's played by Angela Bettis, and the story is simple. She's a drug addict and she needs money. So one of the ways that she can get the money and the drugs is that she sells organs on the black market. So someone comes and picks up an organ from her at the hospital and then delivers it to a crime lord very randomly played by Mick Foley of WWE fame. And this one time, the girl who went to pick up the organ accidentally forgot it. And by the time she went back to get it at the hospital, it was mysteriously missing. So she starts freaking out and starts bothering, Angela Bettis' character to get another one. And it just follows her trying to get another organ on this really crazy night during her shift work, essentially. And that's basically the story of it. And it's a really crazy movie. There's a lot of things that happen that are unexpected. David Arquette is brought in at some point as this crazy guy that was brought in by the cops. And also he has a interesting story in there, and the characters kind of intermix. You really get to know the hospital staff and the people who are staying there for the night. And because the story weaves in and out of the different people who are staying at the hospital over that one night and the staff that are working that shift. And it's a really interesting dynamic between everyone. You almost feel you become part of this staff and you're going through this adventure with them. And I thought that was really awesome. Overall, I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was a really fun film and had a lot of interesting moments. My only like big gripe about it is that, like I said, there are cops, the one who brought in David Arquette, and they see things in the movie that would be a huge red flag in real life. Like at one point, Angela Bettis is in the morgue and there's a body on the ground, there's blood everywhere. And the cop comes in and he's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I just dropped him." And he's like, "Okay, well, whatever, fine. You're a nurse, it makes sense." But there's no fucking way that there'd be a body with blood everywhere on the floor. It just makes no fucking sense at all. But anyway, just things like that are kind of stupid. I think the cops are just too dumb for it to be kind of believable. But overall, I recommend this one. It's a really fun one. So it's a 12-hour shift over on Shudder.
Glorious.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Glorious. Currently streaming on Shudder, 2022 film directed by Rebecca McKendry. After a breakup, Wes ends up at a remote rest stop. He finds himself locked inside the bathroom with a mysterious figure speaking from an adjacent stall. Soon, Wes realizes he is involved in a situation more terrible than he could imagine. All right, so we start off with our character, and he's driving across country. Something's happened in his past where, he's mourning over a relationship loss. He can't stay awake, so he finds a rest stop. Decides to stay there for the night. He has a total freak out and starts getting blackout drunk, burns a bunch of stuff in a fire pit. Eventually, we find the character. He wakes up in the morning at the rest stop still, and he's fucking hungover. He has to throw up, so he goes in the bathroom stall, begins to vomit, and that's when he realizes he is locked inside the rest stop, and a voice from the adjacent stall, played by J.K. Simmons, starts speaking to him, saying, "Hey, you can't leave. I need your help." And I'll leave it at that. Oh, he also says too, "Don't you fucking look at me, or I'm going to do something. And you won't like it." So yeah, I mean, the movie's pretty straightforward. It's a one location type of film. Overall, my first impression was there's some things I liked. Like I like some of the body horror stuff. That was pretty cool. I like the raining blood scene. That was freaking awesome. But overall, there was this kind of a miss for me, but there's still stuff that I thought was pretty cool. What about you guys?
Yeah, so I went into this one essentially like totally blind, and I came out actually like I think I'm gonna be the most positive on this one. I ended up like really enjoying this one. Very Lovecraft. I am a sucker for like Lovecraftian style horror movies too. So this was definitely like up my alley because I just don't think there's like a lot of them out there. So when they do come about, I'm always like super intrigued. I loved the lighting in this. I loved the the uses of purple was great. I think the one place setting like worked really well with this one, unlike Revealer. Like I thought Revealer I found boring at times. This one I didn't really feel bored. Like I mean, and you guys might disagree with me, but I was always like really intrigued by what this monster was gonna do or make him do next. I guess my biggest complaint would be I don't think the comedy always worked well, but I thought J.K. Simmons was excellent as just the voice of this creature. And the movie went places I was not expecting. Like this big, obviously we'll get into it, but I did not see the twist at the very end, like the red, whatever you want to call it, the red box twist or whatever. I never saw that coming. Like I think it just kind of came out of nowhere, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was smart. I really liked it. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Overall, yeah, I dug it.
Yeah, I think I'm closer to Todd on this one. I did like it, like somewhat. I think there was some really interesting elements to it. I did like the colors and everything, and I do agree with Joe. I liked everything that happened within the stall, like within the bathroom. I thought that was really interesting, but it does something that really grinds my shit in movies that I'm kind of tired of seeing, and that's a lot of flashbacks. And I thought the flashbacks slowed down the story considerably. Now I get why they were doing the flashbacks because it's important to the end of the story, but I think they could have conveyed it in another way because all I kept thinking about during the flashbacks is, okay, can we just get back to the bathroom and make, where it's kind of more interesting, and I like the things going on in there a little bit more. I also, and this is going to sound super dirty, and I don't mean it to come out this way, but I wish they played around more with the idea that it's a glory hole. I thought that there's a point in the movie where you think the whole point of this thing is for him to stick his dick in it and actually use it as its like intended use, but once he actually does it, it's like never mentioned again. It's like, no, that's not what I want. But I thought that was an interesting thing where it should have been about the glory hole, and it should have had a bigger important than just being essentially a mouthpiece for this character. I do like J.K. Simmons though. His performance as the voice was amazing. He had kind of like a sarcastic tone, a little bit robotic in the way he would talk, and I like that. It reminded me kind of a video game like narrator, like a clever one, something like out of Portal or something like that, where he's kind of not making dry jokes and commentary and stuff like that. The comedy was hit and miss with me. There are some points that I thought were funny, like when the J.K. Simmons trying to tell this like super important story, and the guy kept like taking a piss during the story and would kind of interrupt him and stuff like that. There are some jokes that I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. And I do like some of the, horror elements to it, like some of the stuff that we saw, which we'll talk about. So overall, I'm kind of like mixed on it. I did love some elements. I didn't love some elements, which leaves me kind of in the middle, I guess.
Yeah, let's jump to the end. He's a serial killer, right? Right. Okay. See, like Joe, I didn't expect that at all, and I liked it, but it didn't really like affect the story at all. Like, you really didn't need it in there. Like, he could have just sacrificed them and been done with it. It's like it was too late in the game to make an impact for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a point. It's a good point. But I just liked it. Like, it just kind of like blew my mind. I was like, oh shit, okay. Like, it was just like something different and unique, because like you are rooting for this guy essentially the entire movie. So it was kind of like a nice reveal where being like, oh, well, this guy's like really a piece of shit, and I've been rooting for him the whole movie, and I shouldn't have been rooting for him. You know what I mean? And he basically was, our hope, for survival. And he was really just like a terrible fucking person. So I thought that was really cool and like really unique.
Yeah, and I agree. I think a lot of people are thinking that, Steve, that are maybe more negative, that the glory hole should have been a thing. Because in my review, like, if they would have went there, it could have been like the special of this year, And how fucking fucked up would it be if like the glory hole was just a guy on the other side and like fucking with people, and he takes advantage of him, and then we feel bad for him, and then we figure out he's a serial killer, and we're like, what the hell is going on? I think that could have been like a very interesting twist if that was like all just bullshit in his head kind of thing, and he's really just banging a dude. Like, that would have been interesting.
Yeah, it's just like, if you're gonna make it a glory hole, like, use it, in a more clever way, because at the way the film was presented, it could have just been a vent, or it could have just been the space above the stall. There's really not a big use for the glory hole itself. He could have, like, he even tried to peek at whatever was on the other side from the top, and other than that one scene where he sticks his dick in it very briefly, because he's like, no, fuck, ew, God, that's not what I want at all. It's really, there's no point to it, and that's kind of a bummer. As far as what Joe was saying about like the uniqueness of the last scene, I think what lessened the impact with me, and I'm not going to say which film it was, but one of the films I mentioned in a What Watch within the last month had basically the exact same ending, where the whole movie, it's like you think they're the good person, and through a series of events you find out that they're not the good person, they're actually the bad person in the story. But I don't want to say what it is, because I don't want to spoil that movie, but it's something I talked about recently. So I guess having this same ending, I'm like, okay, this again, and that's not to the fault of the movie, that's just bad timing on my part. And I don't know, I guess like Todd said, it did lessen the impact, because it was, by that point, it's like, okay, cool, whatever, it wasn't that interesting to me.
Yeah, I will say they were able to keep it fresh though. For me, like, because you think it's gonna be just him talking to this guy for the whole movie, but then they're able to introduce obviously the other guy who comes in at one point, which I loved. Like, I loved that scene when he finally fucking kills him and just becomes like a total fucking bloodbath. So like, I felt like the director, she was able to keep it fresh. And we should mention the director is Rebecca McKendry, who those of you who have ever listened to Shockwave's podcast, which was a very popular, I don't even know if they're still a podcast, but they were a very popular podcast put out by
They
Blumhouse.
have a different one now.
Yeah. Okay.
Same people.
Okay.
It was called.
So for those of you who did listen to Shockwaves or whatever show she's on now, she is the director of this one.
Yeah, I guess to keep it going, I, like you guys like J.K. Simmons, but it was just, at the end of the day, it was just his voice, like, it it could have been somebody else with like a baritone-ish voice, and it would have been the same impact. It really didn't do anything for me either way, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah, I just enjoy. They could have easily given it to a no-name actor, but how would we have gotten as good of a performance? I think even having just his voice, it was performed super well, and I think that's because they chose somebody who has a track record of being a great actor. And I don't know if we would have had the same impact had they just picked someone like. And this is weird for a movie like this to have such a big name to do a role like that, because he does talk quite a bit. It's not like a lot of these movies that we watch that are independently made that are starring this person, and then you see him for 3 minutes, and then you don't see him for the rest of the movie. It was kind of a big role, and I enjoyed it. I think it was a good move to make J.K. Simmons as the voice of the creature.
Yeah, I think put it in the hands of a lesser capable like voice actor or any other actor, and it probably wouldn't have the same impact. I mean, maybe because I am a J.K. Simmons fan, maybe it tends like to raise my score a little bit, like because of that. But I don't know. Like, I mean, I can't say for certain. I mean, because I still do think it was like a really well put together movie and very competently made and stuff like that. So I mean, I like the rest stop setting too, like the whole like bathroom, like dirty rest stop scene. I thought that was like lended to some really like fun moments too and stuff like that. I mean, I do agree like with like the glory hole part. I mean, like obviously I loved how it was the running joke for basically the whole first half of the movie, and I think that was like a really good, smart, like kind of like a long con for you to think it's it's going to be like this whole thing, and then it makes that joke even more, I guess, effective when it finally does happen. And then he's just like, your genitals are of no importance to me, I think was the line he says like after he finally sticks his dick in the hole. But I was expecting, like you said, I guess I was expecting sort of like a reveal or the special, but I think it didn't need to be that type of movie. If it was that type of movie, I would have enjoyed it probably just as much. But yeah, I mean, I liked how it kind of went that way with it.
So what's the lady at the beginning? What's her dealio?
It's his ex, right? His ex-girlfriend. So like he's coming out of a breakup with her.
No, no, no.
Or we think, but
the
really
girl,
it's his
the girl,
victim.
the older lady at the rest stop that gets him the candy bar.
Oh, yeah. I honestly don't think there was any significance to her. Like, I can't think of anything. Like, she's just there, right? Like, I don't
Well, she says like that line, like, to rebuild it must be destroyed or something. So was that like the cosmic being that we're trying to hide from? Was that God?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I thought at first. She was like kind of the character that knows that this is going to happen. Kind of like I guess the doorman or the doorwoman to this creature, right? But in the end, it didn't play all that much into kind of the reveal. So I think maybe they should explore that character more if you're going to do it that way. Yeah.
What's up with him calling his girlfriend that he had killed over and over again, just to throw the audience off?
Yeah, I would say so. I don't even honestly remember.
Cheap.
Did he call her on the phone?
Cheap. Yeah, he calls her and leaves voicemails and stuff.
I think it's like, it's almost like it's his self-realization that he actually killed her, right? The whole story is kind of about that. So when he's calling her, it's like he's not believing that this actually happened, that he actually killed her. So it's I forget which movie I watched recently where someone calls his mom like the whole movie, and you realize that the mom had been dead the whole time, and it's just like his comfort. It's just the way it is. I think that's what it was with this.
Yeah, I think this movie, like, it doesn't overstay its welcome either, right? It's like a 78, 79 minutes. So I think if it went any longer, it probably would have overstayed its welcome. But I think it stayed pretty, for me anyway. It stayed like pretty tight the whole time, where it never went too long for me. I never felt like there was. I never felt bored or felt like any like scene was getting overly long, where I was like, okay, let's get this moving.
So what do you guys think of like the actual horror part of this? The design of the creature, the big bear, which was super random, I know, and then kind of the body horror when A, he's cutting out his liver, and B, when that guy comes in and gets basically decimated by this creature. So what do you guys think of the horror aspects of this?
Loved it. I loved the whatever you want to call it, the disintegration, I guess, or explosion of that one character. It was great. Him cutting out his liver was cool. Like, didn't see that part like coming really until it's actually revealed of that's what he needs of you, is to actually like fucking perform essentially surgery on yourself. So that was really cool. And I liked the creature design, I guess, but we really don't get much of it. Like, you really don't see much of it. You just get some tentacles here and there, but it's simple. Like, right, sometimes you don't have to reveal your monster, and it's better to be left up to the imagination. So I think obviously this movie's low budget and pretty low budget, so I think they were probably smart in not revealing too much, because otherwise it might have turned into sort of think Revealer, where we got the fucking like Halloween costume demon at the end that looks terrible. So I think they were able to play the tricks well with what they had to work with.
Yeah, I agree. I would have appreciated a little bit more like slimy tentacleness coming through the glory hole a little bit, dripping down the hole, especially when they're leading up to the, oh, you don't have to fuck me thing, but have it like seeping goo out or something. So it makes it that much worse. But you know what the grossest part is? When he's like putting his face on the public shitter and like has his hands all over it. And then later J.K. Simmons is like, you got fecal matter from 3 people on you. You want me to tell you who they are or something? It's like, ugh. He was way too into that fucking toilet. Like, gosh.
Yeah, I agree. That also made me cringe. It's freaking disgusting. Now, I don't know. I watched it like last week, and I'm already forgetting a lot of it. Did we not see the full creature like briefly? Because I wrote in my notes that I thought the alien design that they gave him was kind of cool, but we see him really briefly.
Very briefly, yeah. I mean, it's been the same with me. It's been like a week since I've watched it too, but I feel like maybe it's a super brief thing, but I feel like we don't see like the whole.
Yeah, I thought we did. I thought we did see the full creature at one point, but like, yeah, for like only a few seconds.
Just 3 days ago for me, and I don't remember. So
well, there you go.
maybe briefly.
Yeah, and I love the like kind of red ball sack that they give him that you could see kind of under the stall throughout the whole thing, which made me kind of curious what he looked like. But and you're right, Joe. Like we spent so much time not knowing what he looks like that it would have been tough to have a reveal that would have been satisfying, I guess.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping he'd look exactly like the amazing, I thought, painting that's surrounding the glory hole. Like almost as if it would have been cool if this whole time we saw the creature design and just didn't like really process it as that was what the creature looked like, and it was the exact same thing. I thought that would have been a cool reveal. But other than that, I don't know what they could have done to make it satisfying.
Yeah, I thought that drawing was the low budget representation of what he was anyway. So yeah. So
that's
I guess that's it.
That's glorious. Why is it called glorious?
The glory hole.
Glory. All this.
I even referred to the monster as Glory in my notes. Like I didn't know what the monster is called, so
I think
he had that weird name.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Why do you need a liver? Why do you need a liver? Just cause?
Yep, just cause.
Just cause. Got it. It would have been so funny if he's like, I need your semen. And they should have just fucking did that. Like, I think it would have been so much cooler if they went the gross route with it instead of like, liver doesn't make any sense. Not doing the glory hole doesn't make any sense. It's like, I don't know. I like the blood fountain. The blood raining.
I was just gonna say we didn't talk about the blood shower scene. That was maybe the highlight of the movie, and a part of it is because of the music. It's just the contrast of the music and what was going on screen was actually really cool, and I actually really enjoyed that moment.
Yeah, that guy didn't deserve to die. Poor guy.
Yeah, Gary.
He's doing his job.
Yeah.
Trying to get this like crackhead or whatever he thought he was out of there, and he's pantsless and everything.
Right. So you walk into a bathroom stall, right? And there's a guy, he's got no pants on, and he's talking about the glory hole. Do you quietly excuse yourself and go back, or do you go pee because you really have to?
No, you go pee in the woods.
exactly. Just pee behind the building or something.
Seriously, he doesn't get paid enough to deal with that.
No, hell no.
Yeah.
For sure. All
All
right.
right, great to say. Let's lead off with the highest score of Joseph. What you got?
All right. I'll go. Yeah, I'm definitely think I'm gonna be the highest on this. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I think if you're into Lovecraftian style horror movies, I think you'll enjoy this one. You know, it kind of gave me like Color Out of Space vibes from last year a little bit. Not as much creature horror and stuff like that, but with the lighting and the one creature we get, it was cool. So yeah, I mean, it's not making my top 10 or anything like that, but overall I enjoyed it for what it was. And I honestly, I probably would watch it again, like with some friends that I know that are into this type of style movie. So I'm gonna give it a 7.
Yeah. Did you watch this with Sam?
No, I didn't. I watched it with this one by myself.
I overall I didn't really like it. I like the gore. I like some of the body stuff. Like I said, J.K. Simmons' performance is adequate. It's good, but it's nothing like, like you could, like I said, you could add a different actor. Would have changed anything for me. Raining Blood was cool, and I just wish they wouldn't went there. Like this could have been a really cool sleeper hit for me, gross out of the year, but they went like a safer route. So I'm going in with like a 6 out of 10 for this one.
And I'm right there with you with a 6 out of 10. I thought there was some really interesting elements to it. There's some stuff that I really wasn't into, and I guess I expected a little bit more. And I thought the story could have been a little bit stronger and stuff like that. Didn't like the flashback, so still something I'm happy I watched, but nothing I don't think I'd ever watch again. It's like kind of one and done with this one. So yeah, 6 out of 10.
Yeah, it could have been cool too if the creature was, if we learned that he was a killer earlier, and that the creature was trying to convince him to save humanity, and he's like a piece of shit. Like I think that could have been a cool little twist too, where the bad guy at first is a creature, and then no, it's a human, and then now the creature who was a bad guy is now trying to convince the bad guy to be the good guy. I think that would have been kind of interesting. But yeah,
right,
cool.
What are we doing next week? Do we know?
Yes, we are doing we're putting through a vote for probably just our Discord, I think, in this case, which is another reason why you should join our Discord. We're going to do something we've never done on the podcast before. We're going way back, and we decide to finally do a Universal Monster movie. Now, which one? That's up to our Discord. So you can pick. We're going to make them vote out of all of the classic Universal monsters. We're going to go for the main films in the timeline, and that's what we're going to do next week. We're going to either watch Creature, The Mummy, Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman. I think that's it from the classic lineup.
From the main ones, yeah.
Am I missing one?
Fucking Doctor. No. What's his name? The Invisible Man.
Oh, the Invisible Man, right?
Invisible Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have a featuring Creature is going to win, but that's
right. Me too.
Yeah.
So as long as the only one I really don't like is The Mummy. I think it's super boring.
Yeah, I was due for a rewatch anyway. I bought the whole set last year. So I think it's 32 movies in total.
Jeez.
So I was planning to watch it this fall, and I'm looking forward to it. So this will be a good start by starting with whichever one they pick. And like I said, I'm expecting Creature, but who knows? I've been surprised before. And also want to mention that the day this episode is released, another good reason to be on our Discord, we're doing our monthly movie review for the movie club. So we're going to review Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie. And yeah, I think it's going to be a ton of fun. A lot of people said they were going this month. So really excited about it. And you can join too. Just join our Discord and you'll get all the information, and you'll get the link on Friday to join the club. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Awesome. And yeah, and you still have time to do the book club. I think we're eventually going to discuss it.
Eventually, we'll
through Zoom
figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you haven't started yet, if you're a fast reader, jump on. We're doing Pet Cemetery. Yeah, plenty of time. I would say maybe let's maybe do 1st of October or something like that, or somewhere around there.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Tentatively.
And
we'll schedule it for
Discord is free, people. So just come on in.
It is. Yeah, no, it doesn't cost a dime. You can come and join. There's a great community, and it's always growing. We got more people, different people coming in just about every week on there, and everyone just talking horror. It's a great little horror community over there. So definitely join, and you get exclusive content over there that we don't talk about on here, and get first details on all of the stuff and whatnot. So definitely join us over on the Discord. If you don't want to join us on Discord, we're also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search the Horror Squad Podcast. Or you can always shoot us an email, if you want to do snail mail that way, the Horror Squad Podcast at gmail.com. Don't think we've gotten a listener email from quite a long time over there. So if you'd like to, if you're feeling a little shy, you can shoot us an email and we'll definitely read it on the show. But other than that, don't forget our event with Omri Katz on October 22nd in Salem, Massachusetts. The entire squad is going to be there, so you can come hang out with us. We're going to have some merch and free stickers and a whole bunch of good stuff, so you can come hang out with us there and meet Omri as well. If you want to attend the screening, so the signing is from 1 to 5. The screening is going to be at 7. The screening will sell out, so we are more than halfway sold out. So definitely get your tickets if you can over at cinemasalem.com before we sell out. We are going to be we are hosting the Q&A with Omri immediately following the screening of Hocus Pocus. And I think that is it for now. So thank you, as always, for listening. Next week, Universal Monsters, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure to join our Discord and vote that way. And we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.